All right, I'm gonna record as well. Look, I got my rainbow on and my animal stripe. I'm just all over the place. I had my sweatshirt on and I was like, I gotta put this on too. So I have no idea if it's over in Facebook world or not. So I know my internet is wonky. So anyway. All right. So today we're gonna talk about future self-healing and why this is coming up for me. Let's see, I got a weird shadow. There we go. So much of the healing stuff that I have participated with myself and with others is so much of from like our current mindset. And then it's going back into going, back into the past and taking a look at what happened, or, in teenage years, in formative years with our parents. It's also going back at past lifetimes, did a ton of stuff. I think one of my favorites was I was working with somebody and I said, there's just a big bunch of energy stuck on your throat. What was going on with your mom at 16 years old? And she was like, how'd you know 16? Like somebody had told me. And I was like, I don't know. So a lot of it, it's like we're in the present moment and the present energy, and then we're going back to heal. And so a lot of what's been coming to me over the last couple of months is like, I love that and it works. And what about current stuff? Like, what about the present moment? Because I like to do things as efficiently as possible. I always think there's a faster, easier, better way to do stuff. That's kind of just my mentality, that system mindset I have. And I started looking at, and of course that groups I'm in, it was one of those things. I started thinking about it, groups I'm in start thinking about it, and it's all those perfect signs about what about our future self. And when I say future self, I really think of like that best version of me, not me maybe tomorrow who still might be in a poopy mood or didn't, ate sugar for a week. So my future self tomorrow. I mean, when I say future self, I'm really looking at like the best version of myself. Last night I heard somebody say she used the optimal version of yourself. So I know I use that too sometimes when you tune up some chakras, like what's the optimal energy that your chakra needs to be in, or color, like what's most optimal for you. And so it's like, why not have and be in connection with that best version of yourself, the most optimal you. I think all of them are easily interrelated. Future self, higher self, optimal self. We're told over and over again, all of our answers are inside of us. So it's like, why not start taking a look at how we can continue to help ourselves? Because sometimes I look at it this way. I only know as much as I know today. So if I need to help myself in the past or help myself in the present to heal something, I only know as much as I know today. There is, though, a part of me that knows more. She's farther along on the journey. She's moving through what I've already moved through. And so my energy the last good month has really been really tuning into that, tuning in that higher vibration than where I'm currently at. And amazingly, the vision for me that I keep getting is like, if I'm stressed, and I don't know what you guys have seen on some of my shares lately, but I did share the other day that I had a screaming conniption fit with Apple support while I was on hold. I was like, and I was like, oh my God, I have to share it with you guys, because it was getting the frustration and the emotions out. And so there's just been a lot of stuff coming at me, and my intuition and my guidance keeps saying, just stay in that vibration of abundance. And like, let's be honest, it's fucking hard sometimes when it's like you've got bills to pay or a mortgage to pay. I'm going through some crazy shit with a past tenant. Like I had to put up a boundary the other day and explain to this person how they needed to be speaking with me. All good stuff. And so it's like the guidance just keeps coming through of stay in this abundance of vibration, right? And so it's like I really look at, but how do I do that when I feel like life is just bitch slapping me? That's one of my favorite terms. Apparently I said that about 16 times yesterday, but that's kind of what it feels like. And I've talked to quite a few other people who have had, I had some like ridiculous technology problems. So that's why I'm not surprised I don't even know if it's posting to Facebook. Yeah, it's not. So that's fine. I won't worry about Facebook. I'm not surprised, right? I talked to some other people that are really into like Mercury and retrograde and all that kind of stuff, which I try not to kind of fall victim to, but it does seem that if you're having some oddities, there's just some shit in the air. So it was like, as that was going on, I was like, all right, like future self, you know, I look at it, I'm in another group where my mentor says like a year from now, when I'm already in my greatness, it's like me too. And I really love that like a year from now, when I'm already in all my abundance, when all of current life stresses are behind me, I started realizing I'm going to be grateful for the pressure. I'm going to be grateful for the lessons. I'm grateful for what's happening right now, right? That's usually how it happens. So then it was like, okay, why not try to be grateful for it now and do my best? But then there was still something like, how do I get through what's happening? How do I stay in that space of abundance? How do I stay in that surrender? How do I stay in that connection with source? And my future self it just felt like she kept coming in and grabbing my arms and literally like physically opening up my body. And so it was like time and time again, I felt like there was somebody coming over my shoulder and just like pulling. And sometimes it was like, you know, like ripping these difficult arms, you know, like what was that toy that we had when we were little that we'd stretch, you know,
Stretch Armstrong.
Stretch Armstrong, you know, like that stretch, like it sometimes just feels so difficult. But it's like time and time again, she just keeps putting me in this same position where it's like my arms are up and my head is up. And I realized like, that's the physical position I'm in when I just feel so loved and so open and meditating. And it's like, no matter what's going on, she just keeps reaching in and pulling me into that position. And I realized like, you know, this isn't something that I've ever done with a younger version of myself. I've never gone back to my little 3-year-old self who needs some healing and opened up her arms and made her wider. Like I'm always coddling her and hugging her and helping her release emotions. So it's been really fascinating that all of a sudden I'm allowing and giving permission of myself, you know, that's already been through this, that knows how to get through it, that knows what she would have done sooner. And she's really just expanding my energy, you know. And Kyla, we've been through how much Tony Robbins stuff. Like we know he always talks about our physiology and our physicalness. And for those of you that are watching the recording and don't know about it, that's one of the first things he talks about. Great example is that you can see a person by their body language from a distance. You don't even know them. You've not talked to them. And you can just look whether they're in a mindset of excited. You're like, do they look like they're feeling excited, or do they look like they're feeling depressed? Like there's physical telltale signs. And I don't remember if I shared with you guys, but I did have somebody just say that, you know, we're on our phone all the time. We're hunched over. I think I maybe said this Christmas time. That is like depressed body language. And I was like, oh my God, like I never thought about that, but I'm like, it really is. Like if we say, you know, pretend like you're an actor and act depressed, the first thing we do is hunch down, shoulders down, forehead down. If, you know, if it's excited, it's shoulders back, head up, chin up. You know, we're in a different physicality. And so I find it fascinating that this keeps happening and this message keeps coming through over and over and over again of this part of me that's already lived through what I'm going through. And so that's one of the things I really want to share with you guys and have you guys get access to of, you know, what's something your future self can help you with and tune into and help alleviate what's going on. Because you know what, no matter what, life is not always perfect. There's bumps. And according to some people in astrology, like this month is what did somebody say? She said it was you got to release your Achilles heel this month. So if there's something that's been circling around, like what's your Achilles heel? I don't totally know what that means, but I'll just share that my body understood what it meant. I don't know if my brain and words really know what it means. And that's sometimes how teaching happens with me. Somebody says it and I'm like, yep. And months later, I'm like, okay, now I really comprehend what that is. So I'm going to take a breath for a minute since you're on here. What's coming up with you with everything I'm sharing?
Well, nothing major coming up because I'm so distracted by how good my muscles look in that camera.
Your muscles do look good. You've been working out.
Look at that.
Woo! Look at that. I was so good. See that shading?
That's
Look
like
at that.
crazy, right?
Looks great.
You know how athletic I've never been.
Right. This is exciting that you've been sharing how much you've been working out and doing things. It's great.
Oh, it's killer. It's killer. The guys try to take the weights off my machines today, and I'm like, no, dude, I'm going to be adding 7 more of those 45-pound plates. I need that.
You're like, oh, no, 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 no.
They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, I need 10. I need 10 on each side. I need 20 plates at 45 pounds. And they're like, oh! And then they go hide and watch, and it's great.
Love it.
Oh my. Um, yeah, I'm fascinated with what you're doing now. So I'm glad we're having this time together.
Yeah. Yeah. This
I I did try to go see if you were posting on Facebook, and I didn't see it happening. So I don't think that went through. Yes.
yeah, it's not doing. I'll see if I can. There's something that no, you can still see me, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so let me just see if I can do this. I got
I think
that, you know,
it's
that
pretty
that
brilliant that you're going
that
to the optimal part of you and then coming back with suggestions and solutions. I think that's really brilliant.
and it was of course one of those things when I was getting into it, and I've said it, like I look at it, it's been on my marketing copy, is that a word? Marketing
Sure.
copy. Hippity hoppity hoo for
Accessorize.
for months. Um and I've gone there. I would say in the past I've gone to that place more for like a specific message, not
Right.
so much as what I've been using now where I feel like it's more like just a constant presence in my life. Like I feel like I go to bed now and I take that little 4-year-old me and that future self, and like all three of us are just hugging, go to bed.
That's great.
And
Yeah.
it feels really nice that I feel that there's this presence.
I
Um,
think you're connecting with a different dimension.
yes, you know, I mean, it's like for how many years we've been talking about how timelines and dimensions, and it's all there. And I think so many of us are really awakening as to what this really is, what this really looks like. And I know you've had some crazy experiences of your own
Mhm.
in in your evolution.
I want to talk about some of the time travel sometime, but not on this recording.
Right. Well, maybe we'll stop recording and then do
Yeah.
that.
At the end, we can talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not
And
kidding.
yeah, no, I mean, there's just some wild stuff, and it's like being able to articulate it. And I think that's also an energy that we're really moving into. It's like it's a new decade. It's 2020. I feel like in centuries there's a big difference between like the first 10 years and the teen years, and then when you really get into the 20s, almost like your own evolutionary as a child. You know, your first
Mhm.
10 years is a certain way, your teenage years is figuring some stuff out, and then once you get into your 20s, you that's really where you're coming into your own. and
Mhm.
and I think that energy is really among all of us, that you know, those of us that are on the journey and willing to go deep and willing to face our shit, which I usually attract people into my life that are. So, you know, that's good. And it's been really cool because um what I'm really looking at with the coaching, you know, with the kind of traditional coaching transfer, well, I don't really know if it's traditional, but the transformational coaching and the energy work, there's really 5 key areas that really keep coming up. One's this future self guidance that we're going to go into, because I think what it's really about is really connecting with that team. You
Mhm.
know, there's our inner child and our younger self, and I think there's different dimensions and dynamics of that. There's our present self, and there's the future self, that best version of ourself. Some people call it your higher self. You know, and then there's angels, if you believe in that. There's angels or guidance, there's God, their universe, just depending on what your different beliefs are. I have a grandfather that I know is a guide. My dog Lexi, she's a spirit guide now. So it's like we have kind of that internal team. And then it's also, you know, what's our team in our outside world? What's our team that's supporting us? Which is one of the reasons I'm going to start creating a combination of one-on-one and group, because I think we need that community. Like we need the one-on-one attention,
Mm-hmm.
because each one of us is different, and there needs to be stuff that's customized. I think we're definitely out of the phase, do step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and you'll be fixed, because that was kind of the last decade. And a
Yeah.
whole bunch of us bought a whole bunch of shit with step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and some shit happened and some shit we're like, still don't have what I want.
Yeah.
So I think there needs to be more of a combination of customizing what really needs, especially with energy healing. When we do group stuff, it's great because when you're releasing energy off one, it's related. Even my stuff gets in there. Um,
Right.
so we'll continue to do that, and we'll do a little bit of future self connection here towards the end to just get you guys into that. The
I think the future self connection it's similar to Chris Hadfield is a Canadian astronaut, and he said that from 9 years old, anytime he had to make a decision, he said, "What decision would an astronaut make?"
mm,
And that was his future self reaching back to him and saying, "Yes,
I
if
just
you
got
make your
chills. I
decisions
love that.
now."
I've not heard that story.
Yeah, he said, so it's your future self coming back saying, if you make these decisions now, this is how you get there. Because he would, it
Yes.
would be, okay, do you want to eat candy or something else? And he would go, well, what would an astronaut choose? Do you want to do your homework and do something else? What would an astronaut choose? And so he made the best possible decision every time, and everything mattered.
Yeah. Gosh,
That was
it's
cool.
it's so much easier, right? The choice to say yes or no to something feels so much easier.
Yeah, if you know where you're going with those
Yeah.
decisions. Because I think a lot of people make decisions all day long and they think they're inconsequential.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I am a firm believer every single choice matters.
Yeah.
To me, it's all about like the little things. Like it's every little millimeter choice,
Mhm.
which feeds in perfectly, because out of the five things that there's the future self and taking 100% responsibility. That's like in my makeup, it's in my relationships. It's just something that is really, as a person, that's something that really matters to me. Like you own your side of the fence, I own my side of the fence, and between our communication we can do anything we want.
Mhm.
And so I think it's so important to really own just everything that's going on. And it's hard sometimes, because sometimes there's difficult things that we've gone through. So it's also doing it by taking responsibility without any blame or guilt of things that are happened. It's just aware, like, okay, my life's where it's at because of all the millimeter choices that I've made. Which the beauty of it is you can take a breath and realize I'm the one that has the power to then make different ones.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's just like when I broke up with my boyfriend, year and a half ago, I mean, I just, on an energetic level, I owned every single thing in the relationship, and I grew so much those last couple months. Like those last months after we broke up, it wasn't easy, but it was the thing that I needed to do to grow, to own my worthiness, to step into myself, to just be more confident in myself. And it is sometimes almost like ripping off the band-aid or waking up from a dream. Like you're like, all right, I'm owning it. No, no offenses, no, no consequence or offense or guilt or shame about how or why we've gotten here. It's just, let's take responsibility from here on out. So that's a really big thing. Um, the other thing is our worthiness. I think this is something I've talked to more women than men about this. And I think it's different for men and women. I think how we process information from externally and internally is different. Just species, that the feminine energy, the conditioning of women over the last thousands of years. So I think there's a lot that comes in, and owning your worthiness, your voice, learning to say yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no, and not the opposite, which I think a lot of us at some point in our life has done to make somebody else happy or whatever our beliefs are. We've said yes when we mean no. We've said no when we mean yes. And I think that is so much about our worthiness. I mean, just the other day when my past tenant was speaking to me in a way I didn't like, it felt so good just to, not in a mean way, not in an aggressive way, but just moving forward, you need to speak to me with professionalism and courtesy.
Good.
And it was one of those things, like, it was a big, it's, on one hand, it's not a big deal, but on one hand, it was a really big deal because you teach people how you want to be taught. And sometimes it's just those little things that make a big difference of, no one died. Nobody's feelings got hurt. I said what was best for me and didn't shrink my energy away from it. I didn't shrink back out of fear of hurting somebody's feelings or upsetting somebody. And I think that that's like a process, because I think some of that's instinctual, some of that's thing, like we'll shrink our energy back, just depending on how we've grown up, depending on how we've done stuff. I mean, I grew up in a household that was, I can do anything a guy can do or a man can do, and I can do it better, and it was all those sorts of things. But it was just, I mean, I did some crazy shit in my 20s and earlier, and did shit, dated a guy because he liked me at one point. I didn't like him. I mean, I sadly, I really did it, but I dated him because he liked me. And it was just like, that's the kind of stuff that has happened. So it's really like, what's our worthiness? Because I think that goes into our voice. I think it goes into really speaking our truth, speaking up for ourselves. If you're a person that's going to be, out in the world, if you've got a mission or a purpose, that's speaking, it comes through your voice, it comes through your vibration. It shows up in your negotiation skills, where you spend your money, how much you charge if you're in a client base, product or services. Like, it shows up so much. And it also then increases your feeling of worthiness of being loved. It takes, any of those kinds of things about not being enough or not being loved, or is there something wrong with me? All that kind of stuff. It just, when you're owning it, it goes away, or you know how to handle it when it comes up. And then lastly, the fifth thing, which I realized this is not something I had been doing. I was not looking at my business as my partner in my spiritual growth and my spiritual development. I was looking at my friends, my romantic relationships, my sibling, my parents, my friends with at events. All of them are partners in my spiritual growth. I was looking at my business as like some entity. And I realized earlier, I guess not earlier this year, last year, that I really kind of had this energy of like, well, I kind of want to make, like a coaching practice, I think. Like, it was this kind of weak thing that really seemed distant from me. And it's really been a shift of looking at it like this is part of me, just as it is in a romantic partner. It's part of me, and it's part of my spiritual evolution. And it's, I really started looking at my business as like this entity in itself that's part of me that I love. And I think that really looking and diving deep of how business or career, whatever it might be that you're in, how is this also something that's teaching you about your spiritual growth? How can it also help you overcome? Or if you're seeing cyclical patterns, what needs to be faced or looked at, so you can actually, either one, get the lesson, because that's sometimes I find, I don't know if that's about you, but sometimes if things keep happening over and over and over and over and over again, then it's like, oh shit, what there's a lesson that I need to learn. And that definitely shows up with business / career. I say business a lot, and sometimes people just take that as entrepreneurs, but I really look at it, whatever business you are in, it could be, a career or something. It really doesn't matter. I can feel my I hate the sound of people drinking, so I'm going to mute myself.
Have a drink.
Yeah.
So basically what you're teaching now, you're doing the opposite of leaving everything to be your future self's problem.
Yeah, right? Because that's sometimes the energy we'll just handle it later.
Like it's going to really suck for future Kyla, but right now I'm pretty good. right?
I'm
And
good. She'll deal with it.
because I had some memory issues in 2016, I've do a lot of things to help future Kyla. And so it's very funny because I'll say to Mysteria, okay, now past me probably set something up just in case this happened. So where would I logically have put that? And then we'll find it, right?
Love it.
Or things will show up in the calendar that nobody remembers because past me realized that future me needed a leg up on a few things. So that's actually been very interesting and very fun to do, because before that it was always, yeah, I'll get to that one day, and then future Kyla had a whole lot of stuff that really needed to be handled. And
Yeah.
but every single time present Kyla was there, nah, no need for any of that. So your stuff is now the reverse of that. So that's getting my attention. So that's good.
Yeah, and I'm noticing even sometimes little things like, I mean, like the simplest things. There's this drink with chia seeds I'm having in the morning. And
Mhm.
so sometimes, not every night, I will put the chia seeds in the water in the fridge at night. And
Right. So,
what I'm also starting to do is realize, that's me, that was me taking care of the future me, like you're saying, and then
right.
me also appreciating that I took care of myself. So there's also that kind of bit where I'm finding out, like on a micro scale, I'm also just in little ways taking better care of myself. And when I do that for myself, then myself also really appreciates it. Like I cracked up the other day. I forgot I had the sheets in the washer and the dryer and came home, and the sheets, I still hadn't made the bed. And it was the one night I'm out till, like 12:30, and I came in and I was like, didn't really take care of myself. So I just went and slept in the guest room, because I was
Yeah, that's what I would have done too.
I was like, oops, but it was just kind of funny, because it's like, when I do that for myself, I'm really being more and more conscious and really being appreciative. Because what I found, and I also learned this by listening to a bunch of Alice Armstrong stuff, is that she said in there is quite often instinctively, if you're a gatherer, you will instinctively do more for other people. So you will please people, which is, you look at how many moms, they're exhausted. Everything's for the husband and the kids. And then, they wake up at 45 and they're exhausted, and they've completely depleted themselves. They'll just do everything for everybody else. Well, when you're single and you don't have a guy or a girl to do some stuff for, you don't have any kids, I don't have a dog, right? I realized that it was like, I wasn't taking as good a care of myself. So realizing what she was talking about is, quite often you'll sometimes just do for others. And one of the things she really gets at is that, what can you help do for others so that you can also take care of yourself, so that 3 days from now, like, you're still in your happy place. So it's also, in a way, she's like, if these are your instincts, how can you also utilize them so they're working in your favor? Because ultimately you really want to be taking care of yourself. Because when I'm happy, like when I stay away from hangry,
Mm-hmm.
when I get really bitchy and really hungry,
Yeah.
the more I stay away from that, that really is taking care of my friends and people in my life, because they don't have to experience hangry Melissa.
Get
She's
anybody in traffic, right?
right. So it's kind of like, how can I better take care of myself? And being single, I'm realizing that how I'm doing that is those little things, like making sure to make the bed for myself, or clean something up, or do something at night, so when I wake up in the morning. And I mean, it's the simplest stuff. It's all the stuff we kind of know. For me, it's just it's a little bit different energy of, none of it's stuff I have to do. It's all stuff like I want to do for myself. And it's just a lot of little things that then really add up. And it's
Well,
like,
that need to get to that point of
yeah. And
one.
then, then I'm happier, right? Like, a big sign for me is, if my room is a mess, I've got a lot going on. I've
Mm-hmm.
got a lot of stress going on. Well, the last week was really stressful. I guess his room is a complete mess.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big indication to me that it's like, okay, tonight, whether I want to or not, I'm going to clean it up, so
Mm-hmm.
that when me tomorrow wakes up, she's happy,
Mm-hmm.
because it's all cleaned up.
Yeah.
As opposed to what I used to do is, I'll just wait. And it's like, oh, fucking A.
Yeah. Wait till somebody's coming over.
Yeah. And then you're scrambling, and it's like, no, let's take care. Let's do it. Some good stuff. So you want to access into that future self stuff. I was working with somebody earlier today. I'm just seeing if anybody's on Facebook saying anything. Which I don't think they will, but just thought I'd check. Uh, we I was working with her and we were having her get really connected with her future self.
How does that work?
We'll go through kind of meditative. There's some of the same energy clearing that you've been through before,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll clear some energy, and then really just tuning in, and then just paying attention to what messages
Okay.
that part of you gives you. Sometimes hers was showing up with symbols, like was like gosh, I wanted to say a bird, but it wasn't a bird, it was a flower. It was a flower, and that meant something very specific to her. It was a pen, and that meant something very specific to her. So it's kind of those things. I know when I've done some of this before for me, I saw myself like in this flowy gown and dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, I was like, and the message really was like, didn't say anything, just saw this. And I was like, oh, I really have to just get more in touch with myself and move my body. And it was just such a nice way of, it was just no words. But I've also sometimes received notes or words or like, oh my God, I specifically need to do XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of depends on what's coming through. There's no right or wrong. I think it's just kind of sometimes paying attention to what's being received.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's something specific that you want answers for, if it's like you're doing all your weight stuff, you're working on some stuff, be like, okay, here's my goal that I want to get to for my health. What do I need to concentrate on now to get there easier and faster?
Right.
It can be any. I look at it, your future you's already moved through and lived through everything that you're doing.
Right.
So why not find out how can I make it easier on myself?
That's a good plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to make it easier and more fun, just to do the stuff in business that I consider the not as fun part. I need to find a way to make it more fun.
Yeah, because you're at heart, you're a fun person.
Yeah.
You're a
It's really gotta
jolly.
be fun, right?
Yeah, you're a jolly person. So if it's something you have to do, I look at it, I'll ask myself, like, how can I make this fun?
Yeah.
Because there's stuff sometimes that I think other people would think is such a chore, and I thought it was the greatest fun thing. I was pressure washing the sidewalk. I had a
I would like
blast. you know
literally.
yeah, like I loved it. And there's other stuff sometimes that I'm doing something on an Excel spreadsheet and people are like, oh my God, my brain's exploding. And I'm like, oh no, this is so much fun. I get my numbers and you add this. And like, I always look at it too, like your natural state of being is fun. That's one
Mhm.
of my beliefs. I look at like babies, like healthy, loved babies are happy,
Right.
period. Like across the board, across all cultures, doesn't matter. Like they're happy. Like that's our natural state of being, is that joy and
Mhm.
fun and giggling. And I know I always take it to a whole another level. It's just, like, how can it be fun? Or maybe if it's not fun, maybe it's not something I'm supposed to be doing. Somebody else can do it.
Right.
That's
A
it
lot
too.
too.
That's kind of part of it too. Sometimes giving ourselves permission to allow somebody else
I outsource
to do it.
everything possible.
Yep. Outsource it.
Everything possible I outsource.
Nice.
If
What
it's not,
what are some things you want to share? Anything? So give other people ideas of what you can outsource.
well, like I've outsourced sales. I have a business coaching consulting company now. So I've outsourced the sales, I've outsourced the coaching.
Yeah, you're
And
the owning the
basically,
business. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I get up and give little talks in small rooms, and then someone else closes them later, and someone else does all the work. And that part's really fun for me.
Awesome. Yeah,
So
I would say
works
that
out-
definitely suits you.
yeah, that works out really well.
Yeah.
Um, when I had my veterinary practice, right, I only did the stuff. Well, when I first started, I had to do everything because I didn't have money to hire people to do other stuff. But by the end of it, I only diagnosed and prescribed and did surgery. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
And because there are people that can be trained to do anything other than those three things,
Yeah.
right? You have to be the doctor to do those three things, but that's it. That's all I did. But there were a lot of years where I did every single thing.
Yeah, of course. That's,
Nothing,
that's good to get there. It's just sometimes just knowing and giving ourselves permission to be like, I don't have to do everything. Don't have to do everything on my own.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, I would like to have a full-time housekeeper. That's a goal that I have, because I really don't want to do any of it.
Yeah. Hey,
Right?
I have an amazing cousin that has a housekeeper that comes in twice a week. It's amazing. I applaud her for it. Like, it's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. That it's like, if you can do it, hey, why not? Anything you want is good. It's good. Yeah. So we'll do about what time we got. We'll do like 10, 12 minutes of some clearing and kind of play around and see
Okay.
what really comes through. We'll have some fun.
Okay. I'm
All
getting a
right.
piece of paper. I need to write something down.
Sure.
Ready.
All right. So we'll just go through a little bit meditative, clear some energy, and then we'll see what pops through for you, and I'll share if some stuff pops through for me too.
Okay.
All right. Let's just close your eyes.
Okay.
Take a deep breath and just let go of the day. Let go of the rest of the evening. And just get present here in the present moment. Just really feeling into your body, feeling into your breath. Just bringing your attention to your heart space. Bring your attention up through your neck, out the top of your head, up above your head, 200 or 300 feet, where you will see, sense, or feel the light. Bring that light and bring that energy down into the top of your head, filling up the top of your head with love, light, and truth. Bringing that down into your eyes, your ears, your sinuses, your nose, your mouth, your throat, filling up your throat chakra, filling it up with love, light, and truth. Just loosen up any energy that's stuck. Bring that energy down into your shoulders, down your armpits, your arms, your elbows, down your forearms, your wrists, your hands, out your fingertips, just filling all your arms up with love, light, and truth. Just loosen up any energy that's stuck in there. Bring that energy down into the front of your chest, your back, down into your ribs, down into your lungs, down into your heart. Just filling up your entire heart chakra, filling up your rib cage, your lungs, filling it all up with love, light, and truth, and loosen up any of the energy that's in there. Bring that energy down into your solar plexus, just filling up that energy up from front to back, releasing anything that's stuck. Bring that energy down into your stomach, down your back, down into your hips, filling it up with love, light, and truth, down your legs, your knees, down into your shins and calves and ankles and feet, filling it all up with love, light, and truth, and washing away anything and everything that's in the way of that. Filling up your feet and down out the soles of your feet, all the way down the center of the planet, where the center of the planet, just going to be in touch with this beautiful vortex of mother love, this mama earth energy, just this nature energy, lover of all things, all creatures, all beings, all stages of life. And just bring that unconditional love up from the center of the planet, up into your feet, filling up your body with unconditional love, your feet, your ankles, your shins, your knees, your thighs, your hips, filling up your stomach, your chest, your heart. Let's just bring that all the way up out the top of your head and out your fingertips. You're beautifully connected from above and below in that heart space, and just expand that heart space out 360 degrees in every single direction. Just expand that out, filling up the room you're in, expanding out past the building, the city, the county, the province, the state, Expand that out past the country, the oceans, across all the different continents, all the way out past the edge of the earth, past the atmosphere, past the edge of the moon, where you're an infinite being having a human experience. And anything and everything that's in the way of you easily and effortlessly receiving guidance, just clear and transmute across all time, dimension, space, and reality. Got the dogs barking, so just clear any of that energy that's in the way of hearing what you need to hear, seeing what you need to hear, any of the new way of thinking. So just clear out any energy that's in your head, any kind of thinking energy. Just clear and transmute across all time, dimension, space, and reality. Let's clear out your eyes and your vision and your third eye. Anywhere and everywhere where I'm just not seeing clearly or not seeing focused, clear and transmute across all time, dimension, space, and reality. Anywhere and everywhere where there's just anything that I need to hear or listen to, just anything that's on the auditory, just clear and transmute across all time, dimension, space, and reality. Even if there's just any judgments of things I've heard in the past or I've not listened, like sometimes we listen to things and we don't pay attention to it. Sometimes we ignore things. Any of that kind of energy that's stuck there, anything that's related to listening or actions I didn't take when I got messages, just clear that energy out. Sensing that on the right ear, so just bring a bunch of white light there. And just bring that energy down into your throat. Clearing up any of the energy about speaking your truth, speaking up for yourself, sharing your truth, voicing your opinion, having no mean no, having yes mean yes. Just bring that energy down into your heart space, filling up your heart, filling that up with love and joy and peace. Bring that energy down into your solar plexus. Just filling that up and washing away anything that's related to confidence or lack of confidence or worthiness. It's where a lot of that energy lies. Just expand that energy out, opening yourself up to receive guidance, opening yourself up to receive any messages that need be shared with you. And let's just bring that energy down also just to the sacral and the root chakra, just filling up that tummy area, expanding out that the sacral is a lot where the creativity is in, and the root for being just really grounded in who you truly are. And just notice in the distance, there's just a silhouette walking towards you. Notice the silhouette is becoming more in focus. Notice just how the silhouette moves. And just as the silhouette gets closer, you see it's this future self, it's this future you, this optimal you, this best version of yourself. That might be on the same timeline, might be on a different timeline. She's lived through everything that you're living through. And just sit across from her, look in her eyes. And first, just be in touch of her admiration for you, her appreciation for you. Just really feel how grateful she is for everything that you've done for her. Really allow that energy to sink into your heart space, sink into your solar plexus, that she's appreciative of your perseverance. She's appreciative of the difficult things that you've been through, the hardships, the heartaches. And she's just showering you with love and admiration and appreciation. And whether you're listening to this live or the recording, I forgot to mention, it doesn't matter. I can feel different people tuning in. So for somebody, it's just feels a little challenging to make it land. So just expand that open. Just really allow the appreciation and the admiration. Really receiving love and being loved can be something that's a challenge sometimes for us ladies. So just give yourself even more permission just to receive love and admiration. And just notice that no matter what you've been through, what you have done or haven't done, there's just joy and love in her heart. And just as she looks at you, just kind of notice what's happening. Notice that she's beginning to communicate with you. And just notice it's coming in, might be coming in telepathically. She might be showing you pictures, sharing words. Might be coming in voice. She might be giving you a verbal message or a written message. What's the best thing for you today and the energy that you are in today? What's the best advice? What's the best guidance that she can give you? And just know you can come back to her at any time. You can go back to her later. There's never too many questions or too many things that you can receive guidance on. But what's just the best thing for where you're at today and what do you need most? Just receive that answer in. And if anybody has a message that's not clear, just ask for clarity. And let's just also ask the universe, just in the recent future, like later today, later tonight, maybe tomorrow morning, could I just get some sort of easy, effortless confirmation that the message I'm receiving is accurate? It's dead on. Sometimes some people need to hear it from a couple of different sources. So if there's just some additional thing in the next 24 hours that will help confirm this message, that would be very helpful and great to receive as well. So thank her for that time, thank her for the connection, and just realize anytime you want to tune in, you can tune into her. And just take a deep breath, and with that deep breath, just imagine as the air fills your lungs, it's just white, beautiful light filling up all of your lungs. On the exhale, it's just releasing out any old energy. And let's just fill up your entire body with white light, white golden light, just filling up anywhere and everywhere any energy was released or broken up. Just filling you up head to toe at the molecular level in your different chakras, auras, energy bodies. Anywhere any energy was released, just filling it all up. And just take another deep breath, just feeling into that energy, just feeling into that state of being relaxed and open. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes, come back to now. If you need to write anything down, you can write anything down. I know, Kylie, you grabbed your pen and paper.
Yeah. Cool. I actually got cold through that though, like cold chills.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, energy's weird. It shows up. Sometimes you get hot, sometimes you get cold, sometimes I get dizzy. Sometimes I just obsess over my muscles.
I'm trying to see if you could see them. You can't really though.
I can
Okay.
see him. You can see that one. That one, the light's better on that arm. Yeah.
Yes. That's hilarious to me.
You know what you remind me of? So when my niece and nephew were little and they'd talk to me on like FaceTime or anything, they'd do things like that. They'd be looking
Yeah,
at themselves
I,
or being like,
yeah. I don't look at myself very often, so
I
it's
know, I can tell this isn't, those of you that don't know Kyla, this isn't her normal, like, look at my muscles. This isn't her normal thing. But
yeah,
I love it.
the
I
lighting
love
is
it.
so strange on it that it's really making them shine and stuff. And I'm very
Yeah, you gotta
they're new,
acknowledge.
right?
You've been
These
doing a lot of hard work.
they're all new, but they're shocking. But I'm very pleased with that.
That's great.
Yeah, I actually I said follow a message. It said my faith in you was stronger than my doubt in myself.
Ah, I love that.
Yeah,
That's
that's my
beautiful.
trainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so life is good. Life's good. Thank you for that. That was helpful.
Yeah. Anything you want to share, or it can remain private too.
No, it's okay. The only message that came through was just it was an auditory message, and it just was kind of a laughing message, and it said thank you for what you did in 2020,
Hmm.
for all the things that you had to do in 2020. For because I what it was when you're going through the sort of the meditation, what I was thinking about was how grateful and amazing I was in the future that my life was so perfect because we'd gotten all the little details right in 2020.
Awesome. I love it.
Right. And how, that didn't happen by accident. It happened because it was the decisions were made on how to best make that happen effectively and efficiently while still having fun.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you just acknowledged that earlier about the fun, and then you hear laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to be fun. It's otherwise
Yeah,
it's like for me.
yeah, like why not? Like, I think the energy used to be like when after I get there, I'll feel this way, or once this happens. And
Right.
it's like I think we've missed the point. It's really about like, you know, I want a relationship. I want to be in love. Well, guess what? I work on being in love every day. It's no longer about that relationship. It's being in love with me and in life.
Yeah.
And, before I know it, that amazing relationship will walk right into my life. And the good beauty of it is I've been taking care of myself, and I'm in that vibration. And,
Yeah. Well,
what a
people
great way
say
to, to
you
then
need to,
expand it.
yeah, people say you need to be able to get into the appreciation of it, the vibration of the appreciation of it. But I really feel like tonight's the first time that's actually happened.
Yeah, it is kind of one of those things like you hear it, you get it, you
But it
understand
doesn't
it.
make
Yeah, yeah,
any
yeah.
sense
But it,
because you don't know how. That's like, oh, how to be a millionaire. First, go get $1,000,000. Right? Like it,
yeah,
it's not
I'm
that
with you
simple.
that sometimes something switches and you're like, oh, okay. And I'm all like, you got to feel it, right? Like you got to feel it, you got to trust it. And sometimes the cool thing is all the work that you've been doing up till now is now letting you feel it and
Yeah,
resonate.
the be in the future noticing it and remembering what had to happen to get there made the appreciation all come in, right? And I think that's why I got really cold. I'm not cold now anymore, but I got really cold all of a sudden, and I could feel this little bit like nitrous oxide, where you get a little bubbly under your skin,
Uh-huh.
right?
I had something like that recently. I can't articulate what everything happened, but I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's energy shifting when that
Mhm.
happens. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, my message that came through, which I kind of chuckled, I was like, I'm not surprised. I just heard sleep. And I was like, oh, touche. Yes, sleep. Which I will be going to bed very early this evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Well,
do we need
thanks.
to
I'm going to shut off this recording. Thanks guys for watching it. And Kyla, thanks for being on here, being the one to play with me and